Okay, I've got our mix ready to go here. I've got a gallon of algicide. On the right, I've got a quart of surfactant, and behind the dark blue algicide is a half gallon of the diquat herbicide. And I've done two things. I hooked up this sprayer last night, and it's probably got 15 gallons of water in it already. I ran it up to the RPMs that I run it at. I probably only run it about 450 or so, and then I adjust the pressure. I don't run it, I run it at about 1450 RPMs. That turns the PTO at about 450 RPMs instead of the full 540. I can adjust the pressure, which is adjusted up to 110 psi. The spray gun that's on here is capable of spraying up to 750 psi's. I'll show you that in the next part of these short videos I'm doing today. But right now we're going to mix this up. I've got my hose ready behind here. It's got the hose is on. I've got a little shut-off valve here and a little section of old hose that makes it easier to point in here and easier to clean the pitchers out. So right now I did run it up to speed, made sure it shot the water the way I wanted to. My spray gun's working the way I want it to. And you also want some water in the tank. In this 60-gallon one, some people say they want half the tank full. I do a little bit less because I rinse these pitchers out and use every drop of herbicide that I'm pouring out of the jugs. So let's get started here. I have to do this a little bit backwards, and hopefully I don't knock any of these over. I don't normally set them all up here at once. So there's our algicide. Had a little piece of the seal go in there, but there's screen down at the sump underneath the bottom that will catch that little piece of paper. It won't run through the pump. Okay, as you can see, we'd be here for a long time. There are several good ounces in here, and I'm going to have to turn it around this way to rinse this out. But I will start this in the tank so it doesn't spray that first initial burst really hard into the jug, and I'll rinse this out. Usually I have to triple rinse everything. I'll do the same thing with the empty jugs. When I get at the bottom, I'll rinse all the chemical out of that, then I can throw them away. If you know any farmers, ask them what triple rinsing is. You're throwing away a little bit of money every time. I don't know if this is number 4. Not real important today because we're going to use this. We're kind of going to make 200 gallons today. So we're going to fill this tank up 3 more times after this. Here's our diquat, our herbicide, half a gallon. Rinse that out. Turn this up a little bit more. This is actually a valve that came off my old 25-gallon electric sprayer. And there's a little bit different control there than just half a lever. It's a little more awkward to use today. I need more juice. There we go. Basically got it, but these are a polyethylene construction, just like the tank, so these are very slick. Most stuff does not stick to it, so triple rinsing them usually does, even if I use a glyphosate or other herbicides. A triple rinse is usually enough to clean these off. Now this surfactant, it sometimes takes 5 or 6 rinses to get it out of even this little 1 quart pitcher, measuring pitcher, or the 1 gallon jug I concentrate. But this stuff is the magic sauce. You can see how cloudy that got in the first one, and you'll see me spilling some of this water and some of these things is I'm rinsing things out. I'm on top of gravel. There's nothing to hurt here. And all these chemicals, if you ask, I've got lots of fish. These are all designed with fish in mind. I've never had a problem with fish. You could spray half of a pond at a time. I'm spraying from the edge of the ponds. Normally 30 feet. Sometimes if I've got the wind behind me, I might need to get 50 feet or so in. But usually if I get on top of it, I'm not spraying much more than 20 feet or 30 feet out into the lake. A little note on the ponds, they're down the center, they are about 8 to 10 feet deep, but they drop off from the edge in probably the first 10 to 15 feet on the side, on the sides of the ponds. The ends are a little different on the larger one, but actually the ends on both ponds are a little different, but the sides, they drop off from the bank, the shoreline, down to a good 6 or 8 feet in about 10 feet. And there's all kinds of river stone under that, on that edge, holding that dirt back. And down in the water, there are small boulders holding all that stone up too. So this is filling up. We're going to fill it up to 50 gallons. It's got an agitator when it starts running, so I'm not that worried about it mixing up. But as much water we're doing there, it generally mixes itself up. So while this is filling up, I'm going to get the camera set up on the end of the pond. Well, before that, I'm going to go. I'll go over the sprayer just a little bit right now. What I've got to spray with, this is where that slips out. This is a High Pro spray gun. Got an adjustable nozzle here. I'll generally run, that's full, and I can back it off as I'm squeezing the trigger here. Inside you've got a nozzle, and this one's probably overdue. They make 3 different nozzles for this, and I don't know, and they're rated by gallons per minute. And I can't remember what this one is, but I'd actually like to, these are designed to spray trees. They make 2 larger ones. Like I said, this one has an operating pressure of up to 750 psi. In the algicide pond treatments and weed treatments, I'll pull the trigger at 100. It's set at 110, and I'm spraying it about 90 psi, and can get without any breeze behind my back, I can get about 30 feet. But I'd like to get another one. I'd like to get a nozzle to replace this nozzle here, because it's probably worn out a bit, and get a new one, which I will probably just swap the nozzles and buy a separate nozzle for the newer one that's less gallons per minute to be a little bit more effective spot sprayer. We're coming up here. About got it. Filled up faster than I thought. Pressure gauge is up here. And when I lift it all the way up, I can actually adjust it from the back of the cab or the turnaround on the seat on the smaller tractor and adjust that. I'll go over it when I do some, when I finally get to spraying my lawns and some other taller grass. And this has a boomless boom. It sprays 30 feet wide, but I'll go over that in a different video when I do those applications. Again, this is going to rest on a larger stone that's sitting on top of a gravel yard, so I'm not worried about that doing any damage. Okay, we're going to go to the pond. See you in a few for part 4.